women who are in really bad relationships, who are super codependent and really far on the pick-me spectrum, because we're all on the pick-me spectrum, really, honestly, they are not only going to hope that your healthy relationships don't work out oftentimes, but they will encourage you to stay with terrible people, and they will excuse terrible behavior, and they will enable really terrible men to abuse you or abuse whoever. They will make excuses for their own partners who are doing that. And they may even endanger you. And I love this comment. Thank you so much, because it brings it back to empathy, which, if you have not bought this book yet, by my friend, my mutual and brilliant writer, creator, Tammy, Delusional Influencer is her handle. But it's that reminder of people who are really sick tend to want other people, misery loves company. Misery loves company. And I feel bad for women who are in that codependency enabling space, especially when it comes to dangerous men. But I also don't mess with them, which is why I've been blocking them on my page all day. It was endless labor to get these comments out, like these really awful, violent sometimes comments towards me for, not condoning strangling a woman almost to death because she was a burr, and she had her issues too. But I, as somebody who doesn't drink anymore, I can almost always tell who the alcoholics are. I'm not an alcoholic. I have alcoholism in my family. I've dealt with a lot of my own codependency, and my addictions around relationships and like enabling men and trying to fix men and stuff like that. Like, that is where my addiction falls. And it almost killed me. That's why I was like, holy crap, I cannot take this lightly. But as somebody who doesn't drink, I haven't drank in 21 years. I'm not addicted to alcohol, but I've seen what it does. But honestly, it's also because I'm narcoleptic and I fall asleep when I drink. And I'm like way too crazy and fun sober. Why would I drink? You know what I mean? Anyway, but as somebody who doesn't drink, I always can tell when someone has a serious problem with alcohol. Maybe they're not like a chronic alcoholic, but they have a serious problem with it, because I make them so uncomfortable when I'm not drinking. If I'm like, no, they're like, they try to push it on me. And they're also that same person who stays up until the end of the party and tries to get everyone else wasted. And so they end up being a really bad influence on other people because they don't want to do it alone. They don't want to suffer alone. They need other people to be in this really self-sabotaging, self-destructive, dangerous behavior that they don't know how to get out of the cycle of. They don't want to be alone in that. They want, community and friends in that, even though it's bad for everyone else if they're alcoholic, at least. If they're not, it's not. But, feeling like you're not the only one, that there's other people doing it normalizes it. And so then you don't feel isolated and alone in it, and then it doesn't seem so bad, because this is just how it is. So that's why, women who talk about their husbands and all the stuff that their husbands do, a lot of women who are in terrible relationships hate those women. And a lot of women maybe who are survivors of DV like I am, and maybe on their page they talk a lot about narcissism or domestic violence or something. If and when those women ever get in a healthy relationship, some of the other women don't like it. They get mad. That's also like if you have a mom or a grandma or an aunt who has been in so many dangerous situations or just terrible relationships, she will actively encourage you to stay in a bad one if she hasn't really worked on herself and hasn't really checked her motives as to why she wants you to be with this person so bad. And I tell you this as somebody who has experienced this, not from my mother with an ex or anything, just as somebody who has been from people in my family who has been ignored or not believed when a family member did something to me. The pain of a woman not wanting to believe you or making excuses, it is one of the deepest pains I've ever experienced. It feels almost as bad as the actual abuse itself is for another person, but especially another woman, to either ignore it, not believe you, minimize it, just outright deny it, or try to bully you into not fighting back, or bully you into staying silent, or bully you into whatever. It hurts so bad. And yet, as somebody who is in an abusive relationship, who's really struggled with my own codependency, when I look at this stuff as addiction, which is why I love that you drew this parallel, when I look at like women who are truly, and it's not just women, but because of patriarchy and the way we were socialized, to literally, even if you're not codependent, like society forces us to put everyone before ourselves. Whereas it also, patriarchy conditions men to be ridiculously individualistic in terms of what they want, but reliant, dependent on women for all their needs. Not because they can't do it, because they don't want to and they don't feel like they should have to. So they become like big old babies. And so this, whether it's like you're with a violent man or just a man who sucks, a lot of times the women in your life who are putting up with that stuff in their own lives, which a lot of times is older generations because, they haven't had access to credit or, abortion, reproductive care, or like making their own decisions, as long. Like some of us are just born into this, and we forget that grandma was a hostage, right? So a lot of women, like, they're just like, oh, but he doesn't, like, he's not that bad. Yeah, he's not that bad because maybe he doesn't smack you around. Maybe he's not cheating, but he literally exploits so much labor that women are like, I'm done. And then sometimes the person they get the most resistance from, the very most resistance from, is their moms or grandmas or sisters or friends or aunties. And it feels so awful when someone doesn't want you to be free from something that is killing you, whether it's a substance or a man. And yet that's what happens. And so I get it. I actually thank you for this reminder, because sometimes I forget. Yesterday, having so many women be so mean. Like, not only being like, you're wrong, but like name calling, oh, you're 47? As if I look older than 47. I don't, but whatever. Like, the names that women were calling, I had to probably block 200 women yesterday, because the men, they say the same crap. But women are very creative, and they know exactly what they can say to really get under your skin. And a lot of these women have said, oh, you must not know love because I don't have a relationship like Ozzy and Sharon. Sorry, I don't want to be strangled to death. I don't want my partner murdering my cats, 17 of them. I don't want them biting heads off of things, cheating on me regularly, especially when I have cancer. And then when they get sick, they want me to take care of, like, literally everything. And she's awful. She's awful. She's got her own sickness. And she said she's super racist and a bunch of other stuff. Zionist too, from what I'm hearing. I don't know. But I just talked about, don't let this be a don't believe the story that this is love. This like struggle love. Like, relationships are hard. Life is hard. But like, relationships should not be that. You shouldn't feel like you're surviving. You shouldn't feel like you just have to put up with endless crap. The man is not making your life better. He's making it worse. Or any man that they see who adores their wife, gay. Like, what is wrong? And I know what's wrong. It's the same way, the same triggered response that alcoholics, especially alcoholics. I'm not usually hanging out with like cokeheads and stuff. But people drink I'm in France. People drink here. Like at meals all the time. And, like, they don't put pressure on me, but it's like weird. But most people are like, oh, okay. Because, like, they drink alcohol, like wine with, oh, look at you. What are you looking at? They drink wine with meals, and that's part of the meal. But then there's other people. And I can always tell when they're so visibly and even just energetically, like, bothered by the fact that I will not drink. I know they got an issue with alcohol. Maybe they're not, an diehard alcoholic, because usually if you're really, really triggered by something, it's about something else. So maybe they're drinking to avoid something. Maybe they know they should cut back, or maybe they are like dying of alcoholism and they don't want to die alone. So I get it, but thank you so much, because I really, really, really want us to take relationship addiction. It doesn't mean you have to be in a relationship to be this way. Anyone new here? I'm married now. I didn't get married till I was 42. I didn't date at all for my 20s and half my 30s, with the exception of like a few like hate forks ever. When I was like in the like 4B, no kids, no dating, no nothing for a long time. That doesn't mean I wasn't codependent. The reasons I wasn't dating is because I was so afraid, kind of like the alcoholic who hasn't drank yet and they kind of figure they may have a problem with it. Like, I was like, I don't want to mess with relationships because I kind of like have a feeling I'm not going to be great at it. I feel like, because I was codependent around men. I was a cool girl. I was scared of all my bosses. Like, I had a lot of like codependent relationship issues, but I just didn't have these high stakes, like almost dying at the hands of a man, because I wasn't dating them. Then the first relationship I got into at the age of 36, he tried to unalive me. I went from like doing pretty good to like, oh my God. I felt like I had to start over with my confidence and everything, and I had to take dating seriously, because I knew if I don't deal with this, whatever this is, this codependency stuff, I will never be safe dating a man. I'm better off alone. So I worked really hard on that. And even though I never like discouraged other women from having healthy relationships, I luckily I wasn't that selfish in my own disease. I do always remember being like, what's wrong with me? Why do they get it and I don't? Making it about my own self-pity instead of maybe something I need to work on, like really hard. It's never about them. Little Fabio comment song. Look at Fabio, do you remember Fabio? Erica named him because his hair is just like Fabio. Look at that, what an attitude Fabio has, but he's barely taller than most. I love this pony 'cause he could give 2 shits and he's really a jerk. Loving that energy. Fabio Comet song. Fabio, Fabio, Fabio. Comet song.